ABELI, and today I am joined with my husband again, and we are doing a series on getting started with Nintendo Switch. In today's video, we are doing Nintendo Switch accessories. So I'm so excited. We have a lot of different ones to show you. So without further ado, the first thing that we're going to start with is the Joycons.
Yeah, so I'll dive right in. So every Nintendo Switch comes with a single set of Joy-Cons. So what you see in the front there, that blue and red. Probably one of the best accessories you can give somebody else is just more Joy-Cons. And they come in many colors. You'll see a few over there. I'm sure we have some in some drawers somewhere else. But they're usually sold in different colored packs. You can get some that are sort of these type of colors. You can get some that are just gray, some that are red, yellow, all this stuff there. In addition to these types, they also have themed Joy-Cons. So these Joy-Cons here are for the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. So there was a remake from the Wii U era that was released on the Nintendo Switch. And that's where these Joy-Cons were re-released for that event. And I'll kind of hold these close, for example, but you can see there's even Legend of Zelda iconography on the Joy-Cons themselves. So that's really cool. Again, lots and lots of different kinds of Joy-Cons are out in the wild. But if you're looking for a gift or an additional accessory for anybody, extra Joy-Cons are always the way to go, especially if you're going to play with a larger group and you want to hand them out, because everybody can just use one. These work as little controllers.
So if you plan on playing games like Mario Party or Mario Kart, where there's like a bunch of different people playing together, Joy-Cons are really easily accessible because you only really need one Joy-Con for one person, which is nice.
Yeah, but they're just a great gift to give to anybody just because they are such, you can always use extra controllers, right? That's always important. As we continue to move further to the left, we start getting into more of the Joy-Con accessories and then the other controls by Nintendo. So right here is actually a Joy-Con accessory. You get one of these with every Nintendo Switch. And what it really does is it just takes your Joy-Cons and puts them in almost a controller-like experience. So now I can hold this, and as you can see, it's much more like a controller. It has a nice handle, nice grip here, and this feels more sort of standard, but it allows you to kind of get really close to an actual controller experience. Now, as I said, one of these comes with each Nintendo Switch, and then you can get an upgraded version of this, which will even have a battery pack in it, so you can charge your Joy-Cons when you connect them into it.
Which is really nice.
So that's really cool. Kind of getting to what I would say is the best Nintendo controller you can get is the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller. Now, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I would say the best controller is their Pro Controller right here.
I would say so, especially if you're have been used to playing on the PlayStation or Xbox. It's very similar, like, feel to it. It has the like two handles, the way that it's adjusted. It feels like a controller that you're used to. It's
really sort of molds to your hand. It gives you a much more stable experience, especially if you're somebody that's playing maybe less casual games. Like I would say if you play a lot of first-person shooters, racing games, even fighting games, this is a great controller. I really just like it. It feels really great to the hand. It's very premium. It uses USB-C to charge. It has a rumble pack. It even has an Amiibo, a NFC reader here. We'll get to how the Amiibos work. Just in general, I think this is probably the best controller you can get.
I think so too.
But it is a bit pricey, so that's why we have all these other options. I'll kind of continue with what's on my side, and we'll hand to Abby over here. From this controller all the way to this controller. So this is the NES controller for the original Nintendo. This is the Super Nintendo controller, and this is the Nintendo 64 controller. Each of these were sort of released as additional supplements to Nintendo Switch Online, or Nintendo Switch Online in its expansion pack. What those services offer is online service and then emulations of certain consoles. So you can actually play the original Nintendo, you can play the Super Nintendo, and then of course the Nintendo 64. Now, none of these controllers are required to utilize those services, but Nintendo, in a really cool way, went back and offered these controllers, and they work entirely wirelessly. They work with your Nintendo Switch, And they really make playing those original games on those systems, from Super Mario Brothers to Super Mario World with the Super Nintendo to Mario Kart 64 on the Nintendo 64. If you're somebody that grew up playing those, you can absolutely use any of these other controllers. But if you want that sort of nostalgic experience and that genuine experience in 2021, this is where it's at. It's really cool. Some of these even connect on. You can see these rails here actually match the same rails on a Joy-Con. So what's nice about that is you can charge the original controllers on your Switch. It looks a little funny, but that's a super great option. The Super Nintendo controller does not have that rail. It uses USB-C to charge, which is fine. But again, that controller, that experience, all of those things feel really, really premium. You'll instantly remember this experience when you put these up. And then of course, getting to the Nintendo 64, plays wirelessly, as with all of these controllers, and it just feels very premium as well. So if you have a retro gamer in your life, I would say these controllers are absolute must-haves for them. You can get them at Nintendo's online store, and I'm sure other retailers sell them as well. But I would definitely go to Nintendo's online store. Maybe not. Maybe the other retailers don't. I know some of these are kind of exclusives to Nintendo Switch Online. We'll come back to that. We'll make sure to put something in the description.
Either way, we'll leave a link in the description down below where you can find them.
So moving into other types of controllers, we get into our third-party controllers, and that's these ones here and these two here. Abby, do you want to talk about these ones and these ones?
Yeah, so we've done a couple unboxings, at least with the 8BitDo ones, and these are a great alternative to the other like Joy-Cons and everything. Mm-hmm. They still have like all the buttons that the like Pro controller has, but it's nice and small. It fits really easily in your bag or a purse or anything like that, and you can even like do it with like your PC if you're a PC gamer. It's really nice. Yeah,
they're just Bluetooth controllers at the end of the day, but they're sort of designed to be used with retro machines or the Nintendo Switch.
And then they even have a smaller version. It doesn't have quite all of the buttons that you have for the bigger version, but it still works, especially like if you're comparing it to the Super NES controller.
Yeah, very reminiscent. It's almost like a keychain controller. Really, really cute, actually, I think is the right word when you think of these.
But I will say the nice thing about the 8BitDos is they don't have the joystick, so you're not concerned about throwing it in your bag and having the joystick stick or accidentally fall off or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I will say that's a definite plus for the 8BitDos. You're going to have to help me on what the
so there are
third parties are.
There's several out there. The two we have, this one's by Hori,
and
that
is
one's
Power
by Power
A.
Yes, and both of these companies, especially Power A, partners with Nintendo a lot to make really, really fun themed controllers. So if you see this one's from The Legend of Zelda.
And then this one is from Pokemon. It has Pikachu on it.
They are typically cheaper than the Pro controller, and sometimes even cheaper than the Joy-Cons themselves. They are really great controllers if you're a gamer on a budget, but I will say the overall, not necessarily quality of play, but the build quality is different. So for instance, the weight between these is different right away. Even the types of plastics they use feel different, where this has a rechargeable battery. This one, I
think that one is rechargeable, but this one has actual batteries in it.
Yes, this one actually takes AA. Now, that's not really an issue. That's not really what I'm kind of dogging at. But one thing we noticed, and again, your mileage may vary, but it's really interesting. So when we take the joystick here, I'll try to hold this up, and you press the joystick to the corner or anywhere, it bounces right back, right? Like we're all kind of familiar with joysticks kind of bouncing back to their stationary position. When we were playing with the Power A controller, so this one right here, we noticed that the joystick actually kind of holds a little bit longer. You can see that one's still there. Now that might be by design, but for us it just played a little different. The buttons don't feel to have as much sort of that pushback. They're still really nice controllers. I would never say
And
don't
it
buy
definitely
one.
depends on what you're using them for.
Yeah, I mean, these ones bounce just fine. I
Yeah.
just noticed it with a few.
And it's probably because I've used that one a few times,
Yeah.
so it's probably me pressing down really hard, which they've said those are similar issues for the Joy-Cons anyway, but they're easy to just pull out and fix too.
I kind of think of it, do you remember when you would go to someone's house and they had 4 controllers, but one of those controllers was a third-party controller, like Mad Catz or some of the others. And it was perfectly serviceable, but you always kind of gave that to your guest or your little brother, and you wanted to use sort of those
The name brand.
official controller. They're perfectly fine controllers, though. Just a little bit different, and be sure to be aware that they won't feel 100% one-to-one. There will be a difference. Now,
But if you don't have that one and you buy this one, you're not going to know the difference. And
That's
so if you want a more cost-effective,
Oh yeah,
one
goodness,
that
yes. I think you get
feels
these for like
good.
$20.
yeah,
Yeah, these are
like these
are
still
far
feel
more.
really good in your hands. Like they don't have quite the weight as that one, but it still, like my fingers still wrap around it really nicely. So no dissing them at all. They are still very good controllers.
Just a different kind. Very similar to these are different controllers than what you see here. They all still work. They just serve different purposes and different price points.
Right.
So what else do we have over there on the right?
Okay, over here we have more of like our attachments type of bonus things. So before the OLED Nintendo Switch came out, you would have to get a dongle in order to do your Lan Adapter. So that's what this is.
Yeah, so what Abby's referencing is the Nintendo Switches are all wireless, but if you did want to have your Nintendo Switch be wired into a network connection, you would use this type of device to connect into the dock. Now the dock would use USB, and then right here is where you connect your Cat 5 cable, and then you would be able to have a wired connection for your Nintendo Switch if you're in a house or a location that doesn't have very strong Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but now that the OLED one has come out, it actually has that as part of the dock.
Yeah, the newer Nintendo Switch OLED model does have an internal one, but it's okay.
But it's a really nice accessory, especially if your Wi-Fi isn't as strong. It's a very handy
absolutely.
thing. So this is the. Do you remember?
It's a Nintendo Switch charging stand,
But it's an adjustable one.
Yeah.
So we mentioned this on our other video when we compared the switches. So the regular switches have this just normal little kickstand, and
it only has one angle or one
Yeah.
degree. So it is this. Now, obviously, you can see right now, I can't see that screen very well. Or maybe you can't, but the angle for me is a little too narrow on this end.
And so what's nice is you can easily put it right in here, and then you can adjust.
Yeah, keep going. I'll work as you
Okay,
talk.
you can adjust the little flap to whatever angle you want to do. The nice thing also is a charging station.
Much
So
better.
You can easily put your power cord in there, and while you're just sitting at like anywhere that you're trying to play tabletop mode, you can easily charge it, which is really nice. We kind of joked and we're like, this was their experiment to see whether or not the OLED
Yeah, the
would work.
Nintendo Switch OLED model has more of a stand like this that is, I guess, adjustable.
It feels a little more sturdy.
Yeah, it does. Excuse me. One thing that's nice is if you are somebody that travels a lot, this is a great option for an airplane with the Nintendo Switch. Now,
Right. And it's super little, which is nice.
I don't believe it works with the Nintendo Switch Lite. Oh my gosh, it does. What am I, a fool?
And
It totally works. That's great. I just learned something new.
I don't remember, are we able to put actual Joy-Cons to the...
Yes, you
Switch
can.
Lite?
So the Nintendo Switch Lite doesn't project to TVs because it doesn't have a dock, but what you can still do is use it in tabletop mode.
Well,
And
that
that's-
solves the tabletop mode
Yeah,
problem.
this really does. This gives you a nice, presentable angle. You can still use joysticks, Joy-Cons, controllers, anything else with this. So if you're somebody that's traveling a lot and you don't want to hold your Switch up, this guy is fantastic, and it's very cheap. We'll make sure all the prices are on
And all the
in
different
description.
links. Alright, so this is going to be small, but what we have here is a micro SD So this is the adapter with like a smaller version of it, so you can easily put it in there.
So this is something that let's say
But
you
it's like
only
memory.
Yep, and let's say you only took one recommendation from us today. I would say this is, well, these cases are tough. When you cut your fingernails, I think this might require, I'm going to get it. There
He's
we go.
determined.
So we have two of them, but if there's only one thing you purchase for somebody for their Nintendo Switch, if they're a new person to the space, get them a micro SD card. Now I'm going to hold this up.
It's going to be tiny, but...
It's super, super small. Those of you that have ever put one in your cell phone understand this. They are basically just extra storage for your Nintendo Switch and your Nintendo Switch Lite. There's not a ton of built-in storage for Nintendo Switches. And if this is somebody that's going to be traveling a lot, it's going to have a lot of digital games, they're going to need to download those games on their devices. These micro SD cards go right in under the kickstand. There's already one in this one, so we won't worry about taking it out. But they expand the memory to basically whatever you want. You can buy these as small as, I think this one right here is 4 gigs. Don't buy a 4 gig one for a Switch. That's a bad idea. I just had this as an example. The one in my hand, and it's actually really cool because it has a little mushroom on it. I'm sure the camera can't pick that up.
So
but
it's a Nintendo one?
Yes, it's themed that way. Now, there is no difference between a generic one and a Nintendo themed one. They just had a partnership. But I highly recommend going for something over 100 gigs because you're going to fill up eventually. You can go all the way to 1,000 gigs of space and storage. We'll put links in the description for this video, and then you can choose whatever storage size you want. You can spend $20, you can spend $120. It's just whatever you want. But our recommendation is always buy as much storage as you can afford. Because it's just so much easier to have that peace of mind, to have the space. So.
Well, especially depending on the game that you purchase, because some of them will be larger.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to worry about filling up your entire storage.
It's true.
And it plays really nicely.
And Nintendo gives you these cute little cases for it. We just use these for our extras because we've actually upgraded from the 128 to other sizes for our different devices. But yeah, cute little Nintendo cases. So that's fun.
All right, before I get to the charging station, we have one more item here, and it is a Bluetooth headset thing that goes into the bottom of your Switch.
Yeah, it's kind of a relic of the past now. So this works for all the Switches, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch Lite, Nintendo Switch OLED. This guy is USB-C, and he connects into the USB-C port on your device. Once it's connected in, it effectively allows you to use Bluetooth headphones, over-ear, in-ear, whatever you want, with a Nintendo Switch. Now, this exact product has been rendered obsolete by Nintendo. So the Switch came out in 2017. Up until this year, the Nintendo Switch allowed for Bluetooth connections for the controllers, but not for headphones. They opened that update up now. So now you can use headphones directly with the Switch, your Nintendo Switch. So you no longer need this device. We still wanted to reference it because it's a thing that we have when we were pulling things out. But this is a great little PSA to everybody out there. Save your money. You don't need to buy this anymore because it comes
because
native.
of the update.
Exactly. So it's always good to kind of reference that. Somebody at the store may tell you, oh, you need this, this, and this. What we're basically doing is saying, hey, what you absolutely don't need is a dongle for headphones.
Yeah, a Bluetooth adapter. You don't need it. So don't waste your money on that. Okay, so the next thing is a Joycon charging brick. So what's nice about this is it charges 4 at a time, and it literally is a USB that you can put into the side of your docking station. So it's really easy. It doesn't take up much space at all. So if you're gonna have a lot of people over, you can charge your Joy-Cons really easily and quick.
Yeah. Every Nintendo Switch dock has a little USB on the side, just like this guy can connect to it. You have another one on the interior as well you can plug into, so you can have them both be plugged in at the same time to worry about wasting space or only doing one or the other. But it's really great to just have controllers ready to go when people come to visit.
Yeah, and it really does not take up that much space.
No.
I actually always forget that it's on our...
Yeah, it looks kind of nice. You have your Switch in the dock, and then you have these really nice charged Joy-Cons right next to it.
Just ready for the go. Okay, so that is all of the like attachments that we wanted to share with you. So the next is cases. So if you are like us and you travel, it's always nice to have a case for your Switch. So we wanted to be able to showcase kind of a few different ones. We have some that are more themed, so like we have a Zelda one. It's very similar, I feel like, to just the normal Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, just like controllers, what they sort of feel like, what they have for functionality and features kind of varies. So that's why we have a few. Why don't you start with the smaller ones first, and we'll get to more of these beefy ones in a second.
So these ones are also themed.
Yeah.
They are just different Mario ones.
Yes. Now this might be tough because it's kind of like really, really faint, but you notice it if you're in the room. You have Mario on this side, and then on the other side, you have Bowser. And again, it may be tough to see on here, so I'll kind of move this around, try to catch the light.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reflective.
Yeah, but it's actually really nice. Same thing for this one. This is another Mario themed one, but this one uses iconography. So it has like the Mario hand, his suspenders, his hat. Much harder to see though, because it's not nearly as large, and it just sort of changes the size.
It's just the nice red and blue colors of Mario.
We'll both open these ones to kind of reference the interior. They're a little bit thin, I will say. The material from the plasticky sort of material here, this sort of shell, and then the fabric is a little light for my taste. It's a little thin, but it does make for a nice little carrying case. And they have this flap here that even has spots for extra
either Joycons or games, and then it just has a nice little ribbing.
Yeah, so this can actually sit in here. So if you have games that are physical, you can put them in here. If you want to put memory sticks in here, you can. And Abby is demonstrating the element that it uses is actually even kind of weighted, so you can make your own makeshift.
So then you can make your own tabletop.
Yeah, kind of cool. But again, they're a little thin, so these are a little bit cheaper. But they will absolutely protect the Switch from a fall.
So, yeah, and as you can see, it fits really nicely still.
Yeah. Well, at least, correction.
It's snug.
They will protect the Switch better inside this case than it would just falling. I don't know how high up these would actually save you, but they do keep it just nice from dust and stuff.
Yeah.
So
and then this is for the light.
Yeah.
There's obviously room, but it still works pretty well, especially when it's closed. It doesn't wiggle back and forth as much because there's not as it's a thinner case, I would say, compared to those two. And
they do make specific cases just for the Switch Lite.
They do.
We just didn't purchase those at the time, so we're trying to go through things we've had or we've given. From here, we have sort of our preferred type of cases. There's this one, which is themed. So this is themed after The Legend of Zelda. It has sort of a very dark black on like a granite or charcoal color, so it's going to be very difficult to see. But you can see the rubber outer edging does have Legend of Zelda Triforce here. And when we open it, right away, even just the thickness and the amount of other elements this has is kind of leagues above sort of what I would say is the bare bones version. You've got Velcro in here to kind of secure your Nintendo Switch. So if we put that guy here, I can then cover the screen. And it can hold a lot more games in this one, and even like your cords are a lot more secure because it's a zipper. Yeah, and then this one even comes with a little wired headphone set. Looks like we have a screen cloth, and there's even a series of screen protectors in there. I won't pull them out because I'm not too worried about that at this moment. But this is kind of a nice themed case. It's got even little feet here on the bottom to kind of keep it upright and safe. And it just feels a lot more secure, I would say. The clamshell is definitely more thicker. Yeah. For another word. And then we have this one here. Oh, goodness. This one here, which is the case that both Abby and I use. We have two of these because we like this one the most. And I'll let Abby talk about why, especially with that interior. Yeah, so let me kind of move those out of the way. So this just feels like really, really good. It has a nice
comfy spot here that you can prop up your Switch and play on tabletop, as well as this is actually where you get these cases. They actually come in this case. So there's normally other ones here, but we don't have a lot of physical games, so we don't really ever take them with us. But they're easy to carry your games, especially in these nice protective areas. And you also have the Velcro, kind of like The Legend of Zelda, so it sticks really easily right there. And it's just really nice and secure.
Yeah, and the bottom of this even has a more intense shell.
Yeah.
Where the other ones were just sort of flat material, like the top. The bottoms of this is sort of designed to protect the Nintendo Switch. You can see the Joy-Cons kind of just drop right in, and then it allows the device to be flush within this space. So then you have this really nice protective casing on the top with some space, and this just goes right on. So this case to me is the best version because it's branded, it's simple, and it has really nice outer protective experiences here. So I like this. It's not large, but it also does exactly what we want it to.
Yep. We did purchase a much bigger one for a gift for one of our nephews. It's probably almost the thickness of these two together.
Yep.
And what was nice about that one is you could put in extra Joy-Cons if you wanted to. So if you were playing with a lot of people, like you knew you were going to be playing with them, that would be a good case.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a small lunchbox.
Yeah, kind of.
Like not a large, deep lunchbox, but a lunchbox that holds your sandwich and then maybe a drink and a yogurt and an apple or something.
But I would say if you travel a lot and it's mainly just like you playing in the tabletop or a handheld, I would definitely try to go for one of these. They feel really good. I would say they're really good for the money.
Yeah, definitely get a case. Whatever
Either
you
way, get a case.
Get a case.
It really just depends on your preference on what you plan on bringing with you, is what it comes down to. So the last thing we wanted to share as far as accessories are concerned are Amiibos.
Yep, they're not just statues, we're not just weirdos. we're a little bit weird, but like all of these guys up in front are actually useful in a game as well. They're not just plastic, but they do look really nice. Go ahead.
Yes, so the nice thing about the Amiibos is Nintendo released them for basically I'm going to say a cheat mode, but it's not really like a cheat mode. So like, for instance, if you play Bowser's Fury and you get a Cat Mario, you can get a invincible power-up if you use this on your Nintendo Switch. I feel like that's a cheat, but it's also a nice little like bonus.
They're more add-on content. It's basically, if you're familiar with the term DLC, downloadable content, these are physical versions of that. They are add-on things that help enhance your game, and every game uses them differently. Some just maybe give you some extra coins. Some are much more specific, like Abby referenced. This one here, actually these four. So Cat Mario, Cat Peach, Bowser, and Bowser Jr., they were released, or at least are special, they offer special skills and special events for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I think if you put Bowser to a controller, like a Joy-Con or Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and that's where it does get to be a distinct thing. Official Nintendo products like Joy-Cons, the Pro controller, they have NFC readers. So in the bottom of these is a little chip that when you put it on a controller,
it like reads it.
It can read it and it recognizes you're using this specific one and it triggers an in-game event. That's why they're kind of downloadable content or add-on content. But that's also why the controllers from Nintendo cost a bit more because they have that extra feature.
Mm-hmm.
These ones do not, but these ones do. And so like she said, this specific Amiibo will make you invincible for a set period of time. Peach
releases
extra power-ups.
Yeah, like random ones.
Yeah, they all kind of do things. I would say if you have a fan in your life that's a really big Mario fan or a Zelda fan or a specific thing, and you're buying Nintendo Switch stuff for them and you're looking for an accessory, check out a nice
little like stocking stuffer.
Yeah, check out the Amiibo. There's always kind of some sort of character that's being presented, like Yoshi here. we don't have really any Yoshi games, but this one...
This is for Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah, or Yoshi's Yarn. I forget which one
I think
this...
it's Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah, maybe. I disagree, though, because I think this one being a yarn was probably for Yoshi's Yarn game.
Which is Crafted World.
No.
Either way, we'll figure it out. We'll let you know.
Yeah. But like this is very special theme. So just like the controllers were themed for the Skyward Sword, not all of the Amiibo are plastic. So, but they all look really great. They're really high quality.
And I will say it, some of them we bought just because they look good.
Yeah.
Not because we play their game.
The attention to detail in these characters is really nice. So if you're a collector or you just want something kind of cool on your...
Like this Mario is throwing a fireball.
Yeah, they look kind of cool on your shelf. If you've got a game room or a fun room to put them. I always have, so I'm a big fan of the series of Legend of Zelda. So that's just sort of, that's why we have so many of them over there. I always keep the Link's Awakening link, that's what this one's from, on my desk. So I just kind of like him there. I really like the game. I like the character. I think this art style was really cool. So I keep that at my desk. Some of these are in a box. Some of these are on shelves.
Yeah. But they make little good stocking stuffers. They do actually play a purpose.
Yeah.
And they're fun to just have as nice little decoration, especially like what you said, if you have someone who really enjoys games. They're just a fun little thing to add on to your Nintendo Switch. But yeah, I think we got all the accessories.
We did. We definitely have to do our homework and figure out where this one's from. So
yeah, we'll let you know.
Or let us know in the comments who's right, and then we'll make sure to do a video where the other one,
we'll figure something out.
Has to apologize. But aside from that, there's a lot of Nintendo Switch accessories out there. We hope we gave you a great example of the ones that we found very useful. From a quick overview, controllers, Amiibos, from storage to cases, there's a lot to choose from. Just find whatever works for you, but we hope we were helpful.
Yeah, so we will be leaving links down in the description below of basically all of this stuff, so that way if you are interested in buying them, just make sure you click on the link. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, leave any questions that you have in the comments below and we'll try to reach out to you. Thanks, guys.
Yep,
Have a good day.